Well, I expressed a lot of my concerns about sustainable development and how it's really intrusive in our rights and our mobility, and basically what it focuses on. It focuses on concentrating people into these jam-packed cities, and ICLEI is heavily involved in its member cities, and we should really do things to kick these people out of our councils. And then we have another system that I have also been concerned, which is this car-dependent system, heavily intrusive with codes, regulations, and subsidies. It's basically the cluster that consists of strip malls, large collector roads, housing subdivisions, strip, office development, all this other stuff. And basically both systems, the car-dependent system and the sustainable development, they're heavily flawed, and we need to come up with many, many other systems, including mine, Cyrus Planning, that will really compete and meet the needs of everybody else. Okay, so what is Cyrus Planning? Okay, basically what Cyrus Planning does is that, let me give you a bottom line again. I'm not interested in passing any codes, regulations, or getting lots of subsidies from councils. Again, I'm marketing this, I'm offering this as an option, okay? So if you don't like it, then don't move in. Or if you think, something better could be created, then you're free to compete with me. And what I really focus is on, instead of doing these redevelopment projects, unless if the area is like a ghost town or something, kind of like Detroit, I focus on vast, empty land. For an example, here's a built metropolitan area, and I build an alternative city complex nearby, so it competes with the existing system. This is what I mean. When you really, really want to provide something that's revolutionary, you ditch the system. You provide the alternative. In Cyrus Planning, you have 4 major components of urban design. Let me show you how this really, really works. You have component number 1, which is, I believe, Slow-Mo Motion likes. This is called the urban centers. The urban centers are the places where dense activities are going to be taking place. People who want to live in a dense environment, or activities are suitable. Corporate offices, large retail centers, stores that you find in a shopping mall, large educational centers, large medical centers, large entertainment venues, and all that. And so this is where the urban center is really going to be, and what it's really going to do. Okay, and of course it has access to mass transit. Look, I understand that, yes, it is a concern that these sustainable developers want to jam-pack us into these large, packed areas. I understand that, but we have to understand, as history has proven, some of us like to live in those types of areas. Now, component 2 basically is the small town, suburban, I guess if you want to call it, centers, where what it really focuses on is, let me show you how it works. Here you have it, okay? As you can see here, these are mostly single-family homes, about 80%, okay? And, houses from all sorts of sizes, traffic is redistributed, and there's close convenience to shopping, offices, education centers, basically a lot of services like town halls, plazas, and so forth. And let me show you, I don't just design towns, but I also design detached single-family homes. This is a beautiful, high-quality Queen Anne style home. Queen Anne is a style that was pretty popular in the Victorian era. And I design all sorts of styles: Mediterranean, Georgian, Federal, Spanish colonial, you name it. Component 3 is called the large lot component, and these are the places where, if you want your large backyard, your large lot single family home, your golf courses, your parks and everything, this is where you ought to be. Now, of course, the downside is you're hardly going to be close to any of your daily needs. But again, I have to provide that to show that, you know, I care for everybody else's needs. And as you can see here, you can see there's two major roads here. There's two major roads parallel each other. And these are going to be like the high-speed roads going to like 50 miles an hour. So I provide a lot of transportation options. Component 4 is the place where these are these services that have to really have their own place, like airports, industry, freight depots, car dealerships, auto repair centers, utility centers, gas stations. These places are not so attractive, but again, they have to really have their own place. And we're going to really need that because as a society, we're going to have to be producing a lot of goods a lot closer to home, including the outfit I'm wearing. And our economy is going to be more, not entirely, but more local based. And this is one of the things. This isn't just a revolution in designing our cities, but also in how our businesses work. For an example, you know, local organic food, high quality industrial production, and a new way of how we do financing. You know, our currency system is different when we have a savings account. We, the people, control the currency, not the very few. You know, the currency's backed by anything from rubies, copper, silver, you name it, depending on what works. And we have a lot more emphasis on asset building rather than being these debt liability slaves and getting into these toxic insurance plans and all that. And I try to bring the cost of living a lot lower. And for an example, we build assets, so we buy shares of some equities that are trying to help out local businesses, local economies grow, rather than buying these toxic large corporate deals on Wall Street, okay? I mean, come on. We got to get invested, if you understand. And there's also a revolution in education. If you look at it this way, you will find that basically, you know, the local towns have lots of control, in fact, entire control of how the education system is. There's a direct representation on how people want to learn things in the classroom. You know, instead of taking all these baloney tests like SATs and meeting all these requirements and standards, and that doesn't really help you out in the real world, you can travel a lot, you can socialize, debate things in the classroom, you can be more creative, you can have, instead of having all these hours of homework and all the stress, you can have longer class sizes and connect people more. You can be more flexible in what you need. Again, we're going to very turbulent times, ladies and gentlemen. And we really have to come together and figure out a new renaissance, newer ways of life that will improve things the way we know it and will give us a true breathe of fresh air and will take us opportunities that it's not easy to imagine. So please, stand up with me. Spread my words, spread my influence, okay? It's going to take a lot of time, but we have to come together. And when we can truly recover, when we can truly recover and come together, we can make these things happen.